Good morning. Welcome to today's service. I guess our first real summer service with the temperature to go along with. We will begin today's service with the chanting of the Sutra Jusei on page 23. Will everyone please rise for the reading of the three treasures on page 3 in your service book? And then please remain standing for the Gatha when you see the golden sun on page 23. Three treasures. Fortunate is it to be born in human life, now we are living it. Rare is it to encounter the teachings of the Buddha, now we hear. If we do not seek the truth of the Dharma in this life, in what life shall we find it? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth.
I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken within us our highest aspiration. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the Dharma and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together have units in true accord, in a life of harmony, in the spirit of universal brotherhood, free from the bondage of selfishness.
Even through ages of myriad of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful teaching. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Buddhaya. Page 23, when you see the golden sun. Oh, 120, excuse me, 180. Thank you. You may be seated. And now we'll have a Dharma message by Chelsea Asaf.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for attending today's service in such a beautiful morning. I hope you all have a chance to enjoy our lovely weather these next few days. If you would please join me in Gasho. Let us cease from wrath and refrain from angry looks. Let us not be resentful when others differ from us. For all men have hearts, and each heart has its own leanings. Their right is our wrong, and our right is their wrong. We are not unquestionably sages, nor are they unquestionably fools. Both of us are simply ordinary men. How can anyone lay down a rule which to distinguish right from wrong? For we are all one with another, wise and foolish, like a ring that has no end. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. So, over the past 2 years since the start of COVID, I have been a part of the Temple's Book Club, which has been led by Mary Cogger and Valerie Yamanaka. I initially joined as a way to open up my reading list beyond simple fiction reads. My reading habits usually tend to be motivated after watching a TV show or movie based on a book. I had made it a goal in 2021 to just read more, and being a part of this book club was the perfect opportunity. After joining, I realized this was a wonderful way to stay connected to some of our White River Sangha members, and also stay connected to distant Dharma friends as far away as California. Looking back at the book list, we've read a lot of books. Books ranging from historical fiction to nonfiction. We've read a few memoirs. We read a book on the history of Tacoma's pre-World War II Japanese-American neighborhood. We've read books on Buddhism, including Jewels by Kenneth Kenshin Tanaka and Be the Refuge, Raising the Voices of Asian American Buddhists by Chen Xing Han. We've also been reading books examining racism and social injustice. We read retired Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best's Black and Blue. We've read Black and Buddhist, What Buddhism Can Teach Us About Race, Resilience, Transformation, and Freedom. This particular book was a collection of essays by Black Buddhist teachers. They discussed how race and Buddhist practice had intersected in their lives. Our most recent book club book was by an author of one of these essays from Black and Buddhist. The book is Love and Rage, The Path of Liberation Through Anger by Lama Rod Owens. Lama Rod Owens is a Black queer man who is a Buddhist minister, activist, yoga instructor, and authorized Lama in the Kyagu school of Tibetan Buddhism. I have to admit, reading this book was hard, as I am not typically drawn to this genre of book. The text is meant to be read little by little and bit by bit to savor everything. I have to admit, I tend to procrastinate, so I left all my reading to last minute, the day before our meeting. I tried skimming through, but I didn't make it even halfway. I did revisit the book after our meeting and plan to continue to revisit this book in order to better understand the concepts throughout it. In general, Lama Rod Owens discusses how he responds and reacts to anger and rage, and how he experiences a host of other emotions. He also describes the contemplative practices or meditation to review and process his emotions. During our book discussion, we spoke kind of about the various things that trigger us and our responses in turn. Lama Rod Owens talks about emotions, mental states originating in the body as sensations, which are labeled by the mind, resulting in experiences that are pleasurable, unpleasurable, or neutral. As I reflect upon what makes me feel different emotions, happiness, sadness, confusion, angry, for the most part, I feel myself to be evenly keeled person. I might get irritated at hearing another person chew their food or feel annoyed by rude people, but I rarely feel deep anger or rage. I like to think that I'm blessed with a horrible short-term memory, so I'm easily able to forget that I'm frustrated. But with the headlines of events of the past several days, I found myself to have cycled through several emotions, frustration, sadness, and some anger. Friday morning, as I was at work, in conversation with a patient, she told me about the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade. She was upset, and she was in disbelief, and she was angry. Then later, as I sat down for lunch and started looking through my social media, I saw many of my friends posting their feelings on the rulings, and many were upset, and many were in disbelief, and a lot were angry. As I turned on the TV that night, I saw people protesting in the streets, and again, as I was scrolling through my social media before I fell asleep, I saw similar reactions. In his book, Lama Rod Owens talks about emotional labor and holding space. Emotional labor is the seen and unseen work for caring for, caretaking, and taking care of our emotional states or other people's emotional states, or the ways that we can make other people feel comfortable and happy. Holding space is working on being with ourselves and others in a non-reactive way. That you are able to notice everything that comes to mind and mind and body without racing to it. By not reacting, there is space to focus on other things as well as not losing awareness of the material. I realize that I go through emotional labor all day at work by providing active listening to others as I try and meet their physical and emotional needs as an occupational therapist. I realize that much of what I do help other people process their emotions as they heal from surgery or a diagnosis. Friday, however, as I try to relax and take a break and distance myself from work, continuing to see other people's distress as posted on social media, made me realize that my emotional labor was probably at its limit. I began to feel helpless and sad and frustrated, and even a little angry. As I began thinking about this Dharma talk, I feel like I have been practicing holding space. I am holding space to help me process my feelings on how I feel about the overturn of Roe versus Wade. I acknowledge that I feel hurt, that I feel scared and angry, but I don't need to hold on to these as emotions and let it turn into something like rage or depression. I need to give myself time to just process. And when I'm ready, I can make a decision on how to put my feelings into action. I know there's a lot to say about Buddhism and its perspective on abortion and life, but I'm just merely relating my reaction and experience to this week's news and our book club's timely read. Our book club is taking a break until September, so I will have plenty of time to revisit Lama Radhawan's Love and Rage. And I might also try to read ahead so I'm not cramming an entire novel into one sitting before our next club meeting. So again, if everyone would please gosh show. Let us cease from wrath and refrain from angry looks. Let us not be resentful when others differ from us, for all men have hearts, and each heart has its own leanings. Their right is our wrong, and our right is their wrong. For we are not unquestionably sages, nor are they unquestionably fools. Both of us are simply ordinary men. How can anyone lay down a rule by which to distinguish right from wrong? For we are all one with another, wise and foolish, like a ring which has no end. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Kelsey, for your very kindly message. Please rise for the Gatha Ondosan 2 on page 153, and then remain standing for the Daily Creed of Devotion 2 on page 3. Please turn to page 8, the Daily Creed of Godo Shinshu, and read along with me. Realizing enlightenment is assured, and citing the Nembutsu, I shall live my life cheerfully and positively, understanding the oneness of life and cultivating self-reflection. I shall diligently attend to my life's tasks in gratitude, recognizing the Dharma path. I shall help spread the teachings of the Buddha. Appreciating the Buddha Dharma, I shall respect and help others, working for the good of society. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. You may be seated. I believe we have some first-time visitors to the temple. I don't know if you'd like to introduce yourselves or talk. Give you an option. Or not.
Was.
Anyone else?
I'm Laura.
Oh,
Hi, Laura.
I do. Okay. Announcements? Roger?
Today, right after service, we're having our second group discussion about Buddhism, and the topic today will be some of the tenets of Buddhism, some of the basic tenets. So everybody is invited to stay, or not. Up to you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Any other announcements? I know we have our newsletters. If you receive or get the hard copy newsletter, they're ready to be picked up today. That's all. Thank you for attending today's service. And next week, I guess, is our Shotsuki Hoyo service. Reverend Castro, is that correct? Okay, so Reverend Castro from Seattle, retired from Seattle, will be our guest minister next Sunday for our Shotsuki Hoyo service. Okay, so again, thank you for attending this morning's service. If you haven't done Oshoko, please do so before leaving the Hondo. Go out and enjoy the nice sunny day today. So thank you.